Before we get underway, just a reminder to please put your cell phones on silent. Great, thanks everyone for joining us today for the arrival press conference following South Africa's ICC Men's T20 World Cup campaign in Australia. With us today, we do have CSA's Director of Cricket, Enoch Nkwe, as well as Proteas Limited Overs Captain, Temba Bavuma. Now, before we get started, there's a hybrid press conference. So we will first take questions from the floor before we take them online. And then I do just ask, when you ask a question, just state your name, your media house, and then who your question is for, either Temba or Enoch. We'll start with the floor. Who would like to get us underway? Stu?
Temba, you made 3 days now to kind of mull over this defeat. What are your feelings about it now? How the campaign went, but specifically Sunday, and how you feel about it?
Thanks, Stuart. Yeah, it's been 3 days, but I think I'm still trying to process it all. Look, the emotions, the feelings are not as raw as it was after the game. But I think in terms of the disappointment, in terms of the disbelief that we at this point, that's still there. Yeah, I think it's going to take me a couple of days, to be honest with you. I think if I look at that point up until the Netherlands game, I thought we'd played very good cricket as a unit. But then for us to exit like that, for us to perform like that in that crucial game, begs a lot to differ. And I think questions, within the group will be asked. Answers, solutions should be put forward. But yeah, I think from my side, still trying to process it all, how we find ourselves in this situation.
Heinz?
Hi, James. Heinz Schenk from Sport 24. Enoch, just like Temba mentioned, it takes time to process these type of things. But do you think a post-mortem is perhaps even complicated a bit more, given that there's a bit of a flux in terms of team management at the moment?
Yeah, good question. Look, I think it is important that we do review in terms of what has actually happened. We are in the process, obviously, of putting a panel together to ensure that the review is very clinical. And although we already obviously started the plans post World Cup because we actually know what lies ahead in the next 5 years. So obviously it is, disappointing in terms of the result, the outcome of the World Cup. But from my position, I can't basically sit still and continue to sort of look back. I gotta be in a position where I gotta be strong, be there for the players, for the rest of the team management, and lay out the plan. And say, okay, these are our next steps, because there's the turnaround is there's not much time, between now and the Australian tour, and from Australia, it's such an important series for us in terms of the World Test Championship. There's so much happening in our country, but also in terms of the plan moving forward. So in my head already, I've got all those plans in place. But it's going to be important that we sit and go through one-on-ones with the players to obviously to understand in terms of where they are. How do we help them move forward? How do we help them take the next step forward? So that's going to be important, yeah.
If you'll just pass the mic.
Good evening, Vuyo from Newsroom Africa. Just back to you, Temba, maybe following up on that first question. Of course, overall, the disappointment, as you've labeled it, but on a personal note, there's a lot of course, scrutiny when you are sort of leading a team. Just maybe reacting to your personal effort onto this. I'm sure you've had also a chance to just sort of reflect if you think you would have given enough maybe for this. What is your personal assessment in terms of your effort as a leader?
Yeah, I think, when a team performs like that, when a team doesn't reach expectations, questions are going to be asked. People are going to come at the leaders. I am the captain of the team, so it's expected that people will, ask questions about me, take a deep look at my role, at what I've contributed to the team's performance. It's obviously been a challenging time for myself. And I think with the team, I felt as a team, we've done a very good job in terms of supporting each other, giving each other the necessary confidence amidst everything that's been happening. Could I say that I'm happy with my personal performances? No, not happy. Am I happy with the way that I led the team? Yes, I am happy with that. But I mean, like I said, when a team performs like that, people are going to come at the leaders, and I think it's important that the leaders do have the answers to whatever questions that are thrown at them.
Mashatsi from Times Live. My question is for the skipper. Skipper, I just want to find out through all the tournament, in terms of tactics and what you guys do behind the scenes, was there ever a stage where discussions were held in terms of the makeup of the team, given individual performance of players who were struggling and stuff like that, of changing things around, maybe taking a different direction?
I think in terms of the strategy, I mean, those conversations happen pretty much every game. And I think, as you would have seen, we tried to select a team that spoke to the conditions that we expected. In terms of form, I think, I mean, it's at the World Cup. You're always going to show confidence to the guys who you feel are in your best 11. And that's exactly what we did. Yeah, there might have been players who weren't on form, as you say. But I mean, you still have to show faith. You still have to show confidence in those guys that they can still put in match-winning performances. The last thing you want in the World Cup is to be giving maybe someone who doesn't have the type of experience, someone who hasn't come across all the emotions that come with being a World Cup, and expecting him to do the business for the team. Yeah, those conversations did happen. Those conversations happened before every game. No, I don't think I'm going to go specifically as to which players were spoken about, but I mean, those conversations do happen, as they would happen in any series.
I think if we can just get the mic over there without distorting the cameras.
Temba, it's Vate from ENCA. Your now previous coach, Mark Barcher, spoke about the fact that there seems to be a mental hurdle when it comes to Proteas and World Cups. Do you share sentiments, and how do you think would be the best way to overcome that mental hurdle in light of the fact that there's a World Cup coming up in a few months' time?
I think, I mean, this group, the one thing that we'll have to accept that, we're going to carry that tag again, the Chokers tag, as it's been called. And I don't think it's something that we need to shy away from. I don't think it's something that we need to try pour water all over. It is what it is. The way to take it, the way to overcome it, is by seeing yourself in the final of an ICC event and winning that competition. I think that's the only way that the group of guys are gonna overcome it. We obviously hope that in five years' time, whichever group is at the helm, they don't have to deal with that. The guys who are in the arena, as I would say, would have done something that hasn't been done for the nation. But for this group of guys, for me as a leader, it's something that we're going to have to carry until we do something different.
Thanks. Any more? Here we go.
Just ask like this, just for Enoch, please. I suppose I hold the same view as you, thinking a bit forward now and stuff, but just in terms of you guys are in a unique position in terms of other, test playing nations, and that quite a few of your test players are key T20 players as well. So I was just wondering, what is your planning in terms of the preparation for the Australian test, how long are you looking at sort of like giving the guys a break before they might have to go back to provincial duty? Just sort of like wondering what the protocol is, for that.
Suppose you're taking me back to my coaching days. Yeah, look, I've been in conversation with obviously the interim head coach, Mali, on in terms of how long should the guys have a break. It's not just a mental break, obviously physical, emotional, try and obviously get them in a best space possible, to go and compete in Australia. So yeah, in due course, we're going to be making those calls, but it's important, like Skip has said here, that the next sort of couple of days, obviously, we allow the guys to just to switch off completely. I mean, they're back home, they need to reconnect, switch off from a game, reconnect with their families, and obviously some of them will reflect deeply in terms of what has happened and how to actually move forward. So we need to allow them the space, but at the same time, giving them as much support as possible. And then soon enough, and we'll be making those calls in terms of what's going to be the next step. Yeah. But like I said, consultation with the coach.
How do you feel about the decision not to be informed by in physical?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's a call of the coach, the panel, and I trust them that obviously they'll make the right calls on the day in terms of what's going to be the best 11 to represent our country. I don't get involved in selection. We have people that are in charge of selection, and I leave it to them. The whole interference and that, I think from my side, it's actually wrong. But yeah, look, they looked at obviously the strategy in terms of what's going to work best on the day, and they went with the 11. Obviously, it's never easy for someone like Riza, but any other players that are not, taking part in the game or playing for their country. But I'm sure that moving forward, there will be some opportunities. We, like I said, from our position, need to ensure that all the players, all the staff are, they're still in a good space mentally, to take the next step forward.
Follow up, yep.
You spoke about this potentially that's going to take place. There's something like that, or in the ambit of that.
Yeah, look, it's in every aspect. In terms of the World Cup, prior to the World Cup, post the World Cup, we need to ensure that, we have a very clear strategy moving forward. Like it's been said already, we don't have a lot of time, to the next World Cup. It's literally 12 months away, 11 months away. So we need to make sure that, the next strategy in terms of the players, how we're going to manage our players better even. There's a lot of formats to obviously still to compete. There's possibilities of qualifiers. So all those things we got to take into mind and say, okay, how do we tackle that? How do we make sure that we're in a better position to compete and, and put ourselves in a position that we actually get to India, come next year, October, November. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of details that's going to be shared, and obviously trying to understand exactly, how, like I said, how do we take the next step forward collectively from selection, from player management, medical, game strategy, whatever it is. We're going to dig deep.
Mashlat, so you.
Just talking about individual players. Earlier on, the Burgers arrived to a discussion about this level of skill. And some of the guys said you must end these stripes domestically. Some said, if you're good enough, if you're young, well, they say if you're good enough, you can go older. What is your view on this kid? Can he go and play for the Proteas already, or you would go with the sense that you must end these stripes domestically?
Yeah, look, he's a fantastic player. The beauty about it is that he came through the structures. He did well at under 19 level, and obviously we've just seen him recently doing well at domestic level, which is something that he wanted to do. There's never an easy ticket to the Proteas or international cricket. And I think every cricketer understands that you know, they almost got to go through their apprenticeship and do it well, so that also, you know, they can have that self-belief, or they're confident enough when given the opportunity, whether it's the SAA or even the main team, the Proteas, that they can actually step step on that platform and then actually compete and win games for the country. So we gotta be patient. You know, he's showing good signs. So we just gotta make sure that we monitor him, and when the opportunity, you know, comes, that, you know, he's actually ready, and we can give him all the support needed to ensure that he performs for South Africa one day.
Great. We're going to take the last questions from the floor.
Obviously, people will look at the performance at the World Cup, but don't you think that what's happened within the organization itself over the last number of years would have contributed to what eventually we see on the field? And how much responsibility or accountability is South Africa taking? And unfortunately, you as a director of cricket, I know you have come in recently, but how much accountability you guys take for what's eventually transpired in the field? And how do you plan on fixing that, so that the next team that goes to World Cup doesn't have to endure all the boardroom turmoils and obviously on-field turmoils that's happened?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, look, it's you know, the industry that we find ourselves in is not only in cricket, but in sports in general. I suppose maybe in business as well. There's always going to be pressures, and our players are always well prepared to deal with pressure, especially on the park. One thing I've been proud of this team and the squad of players in different formats over the last sort of couple of years is that they've been able to go on the park and compete and try and win games for South Africa. You know, close up all the noises, whatever is happening off the field. And, you know, they've been trained, you know, to be able to do that, to handle the noises off the field and be able to focus on what needs to be done on the day to win games for South Africa. So I wouldn't think it's you know, it really affected them, because look, I mean, it's the nature of the beast sometimes that, you know, these things can happen. But yes, maybe to an extent it did, but it was dealt with internally. And we'll always take full accountability, because we sort of like we one team, you know, as an organization, as all our national teams. And no matter what happens, if the team loses, we all lose. You know, if the team wins, we all win. And you know, and if we lose, obviously, how do we ensure that we give them the support needed to ensure that they win moving forward? How do we even prepare better for the World Cups coming? We know that in the next 5 years or 8 years, there's going to be ICC events every single year. So hence, it's going to be important now that we don't look back, we don't dwell on the past. You know, we find ourselves in this situation, and how do we ensure that, you know, we put the best possible systems and structures to support not only you know, our men's team, but also our women's team, you know, to win World Cup moving forward, and also dominate world cricket. You know, I mean, Temba spoke earlier, you know, obviously about the chokers tag, but look, I mean, those are some of the things, obviously, the guys are very much aware of. It is a tag that we'll carry, but I have no doubt that this group of cricketers moving forward, and also the next generation, you know, they will make a difference moving forward. You know, they will overcome such moments and situations to ensure that, you know, they always put themselves in a position to win matches and win World Cups. So hence, it's going to be important that we don't focus on the noises outside. We go back internally and we find the best strategies to help every single individual, every single player, you know, to overcome such events.
Great, thank you very much. We'll switch to the online component now. And I see Fidos has a question.
Thanks, Lucy. Hi, guys. I have a question each for Temba and Enoch. You want me to ask them together or separately? Hello?
Just one moment for us. We are just adjusting the monitors. There we go. Now we can hear you loud and clearly.
Okay. I have a question each for Temba and Enoch. I can ask them together if you like, or separately. Temba, you know, while you were at the World Cup, former captain Faf du Plessis' book came out where he spoke a lot about soft skills and in particular concerns around the way communication sometimes took place in the team environment. And I just want to ask you how you felt, you know, now that the Mark Boucher era has ended, around communication and culture and those type of soft skills that Faf mentioned. And then I'll come to my question to Enoch.
Hi there, Fidos. I think I have to say I haven't read Faf's book. I haven't seen any extract from his book, so it's a bit tricky for me to comment in terms of, you know, his opinion in terms of communication. I think communication is an ongoing process. There's always room for improvement. And I think we were a team that was obviously striving to have the most effective communication. Like I said, I don't know exactly what Faf said. I don't know the context, but I think for me, being one of the captains, you know, that was something that I tried to intentionally work on, is communicating with players, communicating with the staff, to ensure that they are getting what they need from the players. That's from my side. The relationship that Faf had with other staff members, that's very hard. That's very hard for me to give an opinion on. I think you're best asking him as well.
Thanks. And then just to Enoch, you mentioned a panel will be formed, and also that, you know, someone, or I suppose the organization as a whole, has to take accountability. Can you be a little bit more specific in terms of, you know, who and how will this accountability be taken?
Yeah, look, obviously when the results are poor, you know, there will be some sort of fingers pointed at the organization in terms of what has happened in the past, and, you know, was there enough support or all sorts. At the end of the day, whether the team loses or wins, you know, we're always going to be supporting the team and asking ourselves questions: what more can we do to help the team, you know, to continue to move forward? So yeah, and unfortunately in this instant, the team obviously it's on a losing end, and we also take accountability, you know, because like I said, it's at the end of the day, we're all one team, whether we lose or not. And that's how basically, I mean, I, as a director of cricket, I will take accountability in terms of the loss, but we need to move forward. The focus now is basically hitting the reset button and not basically dwell on the past. Like I said, mentioned before, it's important that now we close the chapter and we look at what lies ahead and how we can actually challenge ourselves to be even better as an organization, as a team, and you know, throughout the system as well. I mean, there's been a lot of good work already been done behind the scenes. So for us is now, how do we move forward? Because we have a massive project in 2027, and there's going to be immense opportunities leading up to that. We need to ensure that, you know, we're always giving ourselves the best chance as an organization to help teams, you know, win games, win World Cups, you know, strive to be number one in all three formats. So that's going to be our focus now. So yeah.
Thanks for those. And then we've got one more from Keenan.
Hi, Keenan Emmonsby from Daily Maverick. This one's to Temba. Obviously now you've been involved in 2 World Cups in 2 years as captain, with another one coming up next year, and DOC Enoch Nkwe spoken now about the 5-year plan as well. How do you see yourself and your future within the white ball game, and specifically as the leader heading into the future, not looking ahead at the 5 years, obviously, but the upcoming World Cup and the World Cups to come.
Thanks, Keenan. To be honest with you, Keenan, I haven't thought that far about the next upcoming World Cup. So, I mean, I don't wanna sit here and give you an answer that it could change in a month's time or after 3 months. I think now, you know, there's a lot on my mind, obviously, with what's happened with the World Cup and just trying to process all of that. And I think from when things start to get clearer, once we've had all the discussions like Enoch has said, the postmortems and all of that, I guess things will become a lot more clearer. But yeah, at this point in time, I haven't thought that far, but probably over the next couple of weeks or couple of months, it'll probably get a bit more clearer. At the end of the day, I don't choose myself as captain. That's for the man sitting over here. So if he sees things differently, he'll make that decision. But yeah, we'll see what the conversations upcoming.
Thanks, Keenan. We'll look to wrap up the press conference with one more from Fidos.
Thanks so much, Lucy. Either Enoch or Temba, I just want to get a sense from you and Enoch, I know that, you know, you haven't been at the DOC throughout this period, but you've definitely been involved throughout this period. How would you assess the last 3 years? You know, if you had to be quite specific in terms of the way things have gone since 2019 to now, how would you sum that up? And both of you can answer if you want.
Thanks for those. Wow. Yeah, if I had to obviously look back, I mean, as a system, we've gone through a lot on and off the field, and somehow we did find the way to still get to a point where we remain competitive. We can still get on the park and compete as much as possible and try and win as much games as possible. And that's been important. And I just felt, look, I mean, we went through a bit of a turmoil, and I really believe that, you know, the team has come through that very, very well. Yeah, yes, it is pretty disappointing that obviously in terms of the results of the World Cup, it didn't go as planned. But if I look at in terms of what the team has been through, and to come through that strong and as a unit, that for me has been very, very impressive. And as an organization, I mean, we have a full ESCO now, and it's a fantastic human beings, and we're hard at work, and we putting structures in place, and we're driving. There's a culture that we're driving internally to ensure that in the next coming years, we can actually put cricket in a very good, healthy state that everybody can truly and honestly support and can be happy supporting the organization and obviously the team. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes and in all facets. And ultimately, what we all working towards is getting our national teams, get to reach number one position and obviously win World Cups, and not only just 2027 or 2025, but also beyond that. What sort of a legacy do we actually leave behind as ESCO? How do we continue to build on something that we want to actually build on, something great? So yeah, it's easy to look back and dwell on it, but we basically made a decision that there's a lot has happened in the past, but we're at the point where we can actually make a difference, and that's going to be our focus. And we actually even excited about the challenges that lies ahead, but also opportunity, because there's so many opportunities as an organization to change it all, and hopefully next year we can all be in a better position, celebrating one of our national teams having won the World Cup. And that's what we're striving for, and that's the level of support from everyone in the organization involved. I mean, behind our ladies now onto the next project,
has been fantastic, and continue to do that.
Great, thanks Vados. That concludes the press conference today. Thanks Enoch and Temba for joining us, and to everyone in the room as well. Thank you for making the time for coming out today.
Thank you.